Welcome to Haunted Hospitality, Southern Stories told by Spooky Gingers. I'm Robin.
And I'm Zoe.
And I have a story for you today. But first, Zoe, how's life?
Well, life is good. I know this may come as a shock to some people, but Kari and I have been dating for a little over 2 years now.
The shockiest of shocks.
I know. And I just met his dad yesterday. So that was April 2nd. But so I finally got to meet his dad because this episode's coming out
Okay, I was just wondering why you specified the date, but okay.
Yeah, because there's a small delay with our episodes.
Well, I already know how the meeting went, but how did the meeting go?
It went well. He was only here for a short time because he takes care of some people at home. But it was nice. We had lunch, and Kari got nostalgic and got to show his dad all his Legos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's cute. And so we got pizza, and I went and picked it up as I'll go pick it up. But in reality, it was let me give you some private time to talk to your dad without an audience. So it was nice. I think he was only here for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
But it was good.
I'm glad y'all got to have that time.
Yes, thank you. It was very nice. So,
okay. How's
your life?
My life is good. I'm excited for the NCAA women's basketball tournament. That's its final. The finale is tonight.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I'm using correct terminology, but I'm rooting for the USC women's team.
Oh, cool. They made it again?
Yeah.
I feel like they always make it. I feel like if they ever don't make it, then USC just needs to shut down. Because, their football team is already sucky.
Zoe's here with the hot takes. We're gonna get I don't know.
I think that's a pretty tepid take.
A pretty tepid take. Well, the women's team is doing great. They're gonna be against Connecticut, and I'm looking forward to it. Go Lady Gamecocks. I don't know if they're still called the Lady Gamecocks or if it's just the Gamecocks.
I mean, they're the only one people watch these days. I don't even know if we have a male basketball team.
We do have a male basketball team. We actually just got a new male basketball coach.
Well, look at that.
To be fair, that's the limit I know about it. Anyway, I'm doing good. Do you have a something for us?
I do. I have a something southern. It's been a while since we've had a something southern just because we love the spookies so much.
And I will be doing a spooky for next episode.
But I did want to take a moment and share a place on my bucket list to go that's in the South. So it's somewhere I want to go.
No, yeah, I'm just trying to think of if I know what you're...
You probably don't because I didn't know about it before a week ago.
So it's a new list.
It's a new list,
Okay.
Yes. So have you ever heard of the Hot Springs National Park in Arkansas?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to go there.
That sounds cool.
That's my something southern. There we go. No, I'm kidding. I have some information about it. So the Hot Springs National Park in Arkansas is it's first of all, camping ground, hiking trail, beautiful views, mountain views, scenic views, rivers.
River views?
River views. But they are also natural thermal hot springs, which are have you ever seen the photo of the monkeys in the hot water while it's snowing outside?
No.
Oh, okay. So do you know what a hot spring is at all?
Yeah.
Okay. So these are hot springs.
Guys, it's where hot water springs out of the ground.
And it's like a jacuzzi. It's like a natural jacuzzi.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to have great healing properties for you.
Like the minerals.
Yeah, the minerals and the vibe.
And the vibe?
And the vibe.
Okay.
So they're over
Part of that was science.
They're over 4,000 years old, and the spring water is actually drinkable without processing. So you you can just take your water bottle over there and just fill it up at the spring and chug a lug, and you won't get sick.
Can I tell you something?
What?
So I was 10 to 12. I was in this natural waterfall, kind of a park, swimming hole in, I believe this was North Carolina, but just over the border. And I just dipped my head in. I was drinking the water. It tasted great. A little bit later, I looked slightly upstream, and there was a diaper. Yeah.
I feel like you've told me that before.
I have?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it's still horrific.
It is.
So horrific.
Yeah. I'm fine.
Okay.
No negative effects happened.
Well, with these ones, you're not allowed to go into the springs.
What?
So you're not allowed to bathe in the public springs. However, they have bathhouses that you can go into, and they are like downriver. So it's like if any water goes in there, it's okay because all the fresh water is up where the park is.
Okay.
So you can go to these bathhouses, and there's multiple of them, and some of them are like semi-public, some of them are private. One of them's a hotel that you get a little natural spring in your hotel room. It's nice, and to me, it's like an Americanized version of the Japanese bathhouses that you can, like the natural springs. And okay, you're giving me this look like you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No idea what you're talking about.
But in Japan, they have natural hot springs like this, and that's always been something I would love to go to, but that requires going to Japan. So this is the closest.
Which is expensive.
Which is expensive.
Yeah.
So this is the closest I can do it in America. So I want to go and do that. But in Japan, publicly bathing is a little bit more, like stripping down and bathing in public is a little bit more societally accepted, while here you could get arrested. So
America does not like bodies.
no, America does not like bodies. But I actually really want to go because they have a campground and museum and a spa and hiking trails and all of the things I've already mentioned, and it just seems like it would be a very relaxing place to go.
Okay, cool.
To become one with nature.
Oh.
Yeah. So Robin, do you have a story for us?
I do have a story for you.
Uh-huh.
We're going to Charleston, baby!
Woo!
Woo! All right. July 15th, 1879.
Ooh, it's a oldie.
No, actually.
Okay.
It's like...
Oh,
it
it's a haunting.
involves the oldie.
Gotcha.
But it's actually quite up to date.
Okay.
And it is a haunting.
Okay.
All right. July 15th, 1879. Zoe St. Amand.
Who?
Zoe St. Amand. Yeah, she has your name, but it's spelled without a Y.
Well, then she's a poser.
Zoe St. Amand was born in Charleston, South Carolina on that day. She was the youngest child of John and Zoe St. Amand.
Wow.
Yeah, I like that they gave the youngest child the name Zoe, like, and named it after her because... Were you waiting? I don't know. I don't know. She had an older brother named Alexander and an older sister by 2 years named Elizabeth. And she and Elizabeth would live together for most, if not all, of their lives.
Okay.
They were buddies.
Okay.
Zoe was single Pringle and remained so her whole life. And she taught at the craft school in Charleston. No, I don't know exactly what that is. I don't know if they just learned arts and crafts. I don't know if it was like a regular school, but she taught elementary-age children.
Okay.
Together, she and Zoe, in at least the last 20 years of their lives, lived at 72 Queen Street in Charleston.
Okay.
It's a yellow house in the Victorian style. It was built in 1891, and it was set up like a duplex. So she and Zoe lived in the lower part of the house, so maybe like the first and second floors, and another family or people lived upstairs. Because Zoe was single, not with anybody, and was a teacher and lived with her sister, kind of people thought of her as a spinster. She always wore like these black dresses and glasses, not like sleek black dresses, but like long black dresses. She was not scandalous. She was very proper. Your face looks like you're thinking something.
I have heard this story before.
Okay, well,
but I only, like, obviously, since I only... It wasn't until you mentioned the glasses that I realized that I remember this story. So
the glasses tipped you off. She
Yes.
was a Zoe who wore black a lot and wore glasses. So
yes, and I'm wearing mostly black today and my
your
glasses.
Yes.
So I now know the story. I know I've heard the story, but I don't know the story.
Well, can I keep telling it?
No.
So I think like it is hard to tell if this is just this next part is like part of the lore of it, like, or if it was actually true, but I saw that she and her sister kind of kept to themselves, especially as they got older. Again, I think it's like easy to look at this and think, oh yeah, they did, and add that into the story, but I don't know if that's actually true.
Right.
I do get the sense that they were homebodies, though, so they were there a lot, and Elizabeth unfortunately died in 1945, and after that, Zoe spent the majority of her time alone. She had kind of lost the person, you know, who she had been with for her whole life. And there's a couple of different versions of the next part of the story. One is that 9 years after Elizabeth died, so this would be 1954, Zoe was looking for her sister and fell down the stairs at the house and then passed away. That's one of the versions of the story. Another version of the story is that Zoe left the house and was like on the street, and this is still I don't know if this is 9 years later at this point, but it's sometime after Elizabeth died. She's like wandering around the neighborhood street calling out for Elizabeth, who had died. And in this version of the story, they take her to Bon Secours St. Francis Hospital, and the idea is that Zoe lived there until she died in 1954. And then the other version of the story is just that she went to a nursing home.
Okay.
I don't know which of those is true. I feel like it's very likely that perhaps she did have some form of, I don't know if it's dementia, I don't know, but like forgetfulness or something as she got older, and it could have been totally tied to her sister, just because there are two versions of that story, and I can see like one thing like that kind of building, you know. She is buried in the St. Lawrence Cemetery in Charleston, and she shares a headstone with her parents, her sister Elizabeth, and actually a couple other people who I have no idea who they are.
Oh, fun.
But they're all buried beside each other. I want to show you a photo of Zoe and Elizabeth. I don't think this is a photo of scary people.
No, they're very old, though.
Yeah, I mean, she died when she was like 80 or something, I think. Don't check my math, guys. But so Elizabeth's over here in her white floral dress. She has the look of her face of like, I think, a very strong person. I see that. I've noticed there's something a little bit stern but a lot joyful in it. I'm reading into this image because I think I like these two people a lot. And then there's Zoe beside her, and Zoe is in, I almost want to say that's like an older style dress, which is kind of interesting because she is a little bit younger than her sister. Yeah. Black, and she's got her glasses on, and they're both smiling at the camera. I think this is like probably the only photo we have. And I think like the idea is these are two, the story of them is that they're like kind of this a tragedy, like two older people, one woman losing her sister and not really understanding it. And yes, that is definitely tragic, but I don't necessarily like this narrative we're spinning of they were just like so closed in on themselves, because I don't think any of us who are telling the story were around then to know, and they seem perfectly like happy and well adjusted to me. Yeah. This is my hope. I'm looking at this hopefully.
And there could have been something with Zoe where she was maybe not able to live by herself, but back in those days we didn't have labels. You know, we didn't have mental health and things like that.
Exactly.
And so she could have just not been able to live by herself. So her sister said, well, I like her enough. I'm going to live with her.
And that could have been it. But I mean, at the same time, she was also teaching school. Yeah. So like, I think she was fine and just got older. Okay. You know? So their house, it's still being a house. That is the worst transition I've ever heard before in my life. In the 1970s, a lot of houses in their neighborhood were being turned from residential into commercial places, and their house was not an exception. In the 1970s, it got in the process of being converted into a restaurant, and this is when we come across the second big point in this story, and that's a little puppy.
Is this St. Polly's porch?
It's Poogan's porch.
Poogan's porch.
You're so close.
So close.
There was a little puppy who... There's, again, a few different stories about how he came to be associated with the house, but he was for real, a real puppy. I have photos I'm going to show you in a bit, but he, like, was just there from day one. When they were renovating it, he would go up to the construction workers, be like, give me your lunch, and then they would give him their scraps, and then when the restaurant opened, he would be on the porch and just like greeting every guest. He was beloved. They named the restaurant Poogan's Porch after the puppy. And okay, here's some of the stories about how he got to be there. One is that the people who owned the house, when they left, the idea is that perhaps they abandoned little Poogan there, and that, well, he, you know, just all these new people started moving in and started working on it, and so he just warmed up to them. That's option number one. Option number two is that he was just a neighborhood stray. He would just bopping around the neighborhood, and then was like, oh, hey, a lot is happening.
What's going on here?
At this house, at this porch, a lot of people with a lot of lunches.
And they're giving me food.
And they're giving me food, and oh, hey, this place seems to be making more and more food. I'm going to hang out here, enjoying the people and stuff. And then the third option, and I saw this was from, I'm presuming, a Charleston resident, was that, well, you know, as this place is switching into commercial, the neighborhood is switching to commercial, that the owners of the house and the owners of Poogan moved about 4 blocks away, took Poogan with him, but Poogan associated the house as his. And so he was just there at the house a lot. And so nobody abandoned Poogan in this version of the story.
I like that version the most.
No matter what happened, no matter Poogan's origin story, he was a beloved fixture. He passed away in 1979 of natural causes.
Because an old puppy.
He was an old puppy by then, and he was so beloved. On Poogan's Porch restaurant website, they say, quote, Poogan became the guardian of the fledgling restaurant. From his perch on the front porch, he presided over the renovation process. And when we opened our doors for business, he greeted our first guests warmly. The restaurant family cherished him. He became an institution. Poogan died a natural death in 1979. This building is his monument.
Oh,
No, just kill me. God. Too cute. I believe he is buried near the front porch. I'm going to show you a little sign now. It says R.I.P. Poogan, and above it is a statue of Poogan.
Is that how he was, like, how big he was in real life?
No, actually, I think he was bigger because I think that was just the statue of him.
Okay.
But in the picture I see that they have hanging up in Poogan's porch, he's actually a little bit of a bigger doggy. Look at him.
Oh, you know what? I don't
fluffy.
know why. I always thought he was a golden retriever.
No, he is a white terrier.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He's just hanging.
Because there's been a couple times where I've walked by Poogan's porch. Because, I mean, we've been to Charleston. Like, people go to Charleston.
People go to Charleston, yeah.
And so I've walked by Poogan's porch.
I've eaten at Poogan's porch.
You have?
Yeah.
Did you see the photos yourself?
No, I just saw this one online.
Oh, okay.
I ate there a long time ago without realizing that I would one day have a podcast and therefore should be taking notes.
How dare you, Robin?
So, you can see I have a little section here called Ghost of Poogan. I have
Yep.
2 bullet points. One is that he is said to be a ghosty. He was there in life, he's there in death. He's chilling around.
Getting ghost scraps.
Exactly, because people will feel him brush up by their ankles or on their legs like he's weaving in the table looking for food they dropped.
Oh.
He's a little puppy.
Oh. I like ghost dogs.
Me too.
I mean, I hate how they became ghost dogs,
Yeah.
but I like ghost dogs.
Now,
Uh-huh.
there's another ghost.
Yes. I'm guessing you didn't tell us the story of Zoe just because.
No, I didn't. Because this isn't one of these places that's like, okay, here's our 11 ghosts.
Woo!
Talking about the 11 ghosts at the Fairy Plantation.
Yeah.
Or the Magnolia Hotel that has, I think, 13. They're like, we got 2. One
A
is
dog and Zoe.
and Zoe. Poogan and Zoe. Living it up. Aw, they're together.
Aww.
At least I think. So, people say that Zoe St. Amand haunts Poogan's porch. They started noticing her there, a little bit after her death, but really it kicked into gear when it started being converted into a restaurant. And this makes sense to me for 2 reasons. The first is that construction.
Okay.
Apparently ghosts hate construction. You're messing up their places. You're moving the things around and they didn't authorize you to do that.
Yes.
The second thing is that, and I always think this about like commercial places, more people going in and out are more people to experience things. You're gonna get more sightings if there's actually a ghost there.
Yeah.
So they think that she is there still looking for Elizabeth.
Aww.
I know. I mean, I don't know what's going on in her brain,
Yeah.
but like that's what they say.
Yeah.
People will see an old woman in black, gray hair and stuff. And
So a lady in black.
yes. Just walking around the restaurant, sometimes dining, and they'll be like, oh, there's a woman. And they won't realize anything is up until they see the photo of Zoe hanging in the restaurant. And they go, oh no, it was her. I just saw a ghost. My worldview has changed. So apparently she will look at you from around corners.
Oh, that's
fun. That's fun is what that is.
okay.
That's fun. I'm joking. That's
Yeah,
not
okay,
fun.
yeah, okay.
If
I was
anything
about to
was ever looking at me from around a corner, like, I don't even like when my cat looks at me from around corners. I'm like, why are you
Same.
watching me?
Yeah, no, especially if it's like you look and see them and you do the double take and they're gone. No, I'm out.
Perhaps it's Poogan. So, okay, people are seeing her. They're seeing her. She's around. People who work there and people who dine there have specific experiences. Because, by the way, she haunts every floor. I'm kind of confused about this, and I do have some thoughts, but I'm not there yet.
Okay.
So, for example, a chef was there one morning. This is before the restaurant opened. He made himself a cup of coffee. He put it down onto a stool before he drank anything because there was a knock on the back door. And he was like, I gotta go get the produce. He didn't say this out loud, but he went and he got the produce. And then he came back to his chair. The coffee was gone. And he's like, am I going crazy? I could have sworn I made a cup. Okay, so he goes, he makes himself another cup of coffee. He comes back to the stool. There's a cup there. It's empty and has lipstick on it, like a lipstick stain.
I love the thought. I know you said he was getting produce, but I love the thought that she could have, like, knocked on the door herself. And then, like, ooh, let me go. Hold on. Yeah. Zoe wears predominantly black, has glasses, and steals coffee. Are we sure it's not me?
You could be Zoe St. Amand reincarnated.
I am Zoe. If you haven't seen her in the last 24 years.
People have.
Darn.
Maybe, like, when you sleep, you just go to Poogan's porch.
That would be hilarious.
If you ever find yourself zoning out, that's where I'm at Poogan's porch.
Yep. You know what? That's it.
This is what's going on. A baker was working overnight in Poogan's porch, okay? She is doing her thing. She is listening to the radio, listening to songs. She's having fun. She hears, I don't know what it is. It was like a ruckus, and I don't know what exactly that is. I'm gonna assume she heard, like, for theatrics, steps. She heard furniture moving. I don't know. She goes up and she checks. So she goes all the way up to the top floor. I don't know how many floors there are, but I think it's more than 2.
4, right?
Okay, sure. She goes all the way up to the top floor, and she sees nothing, sees no one. She's the only one there. She's like, okay. She comes back down. She puts on the radio again. She's doing it. She's baking. A few songs in, she's like, this is my jam. And she starts singing.
Oh.
When only to her surprise does she hear another voice join in.
That's cool.
She sang with a ghost.
That's cool.
I don't know if she kept singing once she realized there was a ghost, because I think I'd skedaddle. But she really sang with a ghost, yes. And in fact, I did see Zoe referred to as the singing ghost.
Oh, okay.
But this is the only singing ghost story I know of her. So guys, if you know another Zoe singing ghost story at Poogan's Porch, let a girl know.
Yes.
Yeah. So staff members, I'm just, like, going through all of the, like, experiences with her now that we have her backstory. We actually have a full ghost story this episode. We have the backstory and we have the effects of it.
Yay.
Meshing together into a beautiful thing. So staff members were hanging out, and you know how fancy restaurants hang their wine glasses upside down?
Yes.
They had them there, and they were by the wine glasses. And a guy said, the glass didn't fall. The glass exploded.
Oh.
It just was up there and exploded.
Oh.
Violent.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
She might have just wanted to be like, oh, let me get this wine glass. Oh, no, I clutched too hard.
I'm sure that was it. So yeah. I'm sure that was it.
Hey, if she likes coffee, she probably likes wine, too.
That makes sense. Actually, these do both have to do with beverages.
Yes.
Okay. So a server he said that he was kind of waiting for a bigger party to come in, but that they weren't there yet. So I think he had, like, gone outside to, like, look and just check or make sure that they weren't there or something. So he was outside the building, but about to come back in, and he saw in one of the windows a woman with gray hair. She was elderly. She was at the window. He, like, saw her sitting at a table. And I think he thought that she was, like, not being attended to or something. So he went in, he got a menu, he got her a glass of water, and he brought it to where he had seen her. And there was nobody there that fit that description. And at that point, I think his go-to wasn't Zoe. I don't know if he knew about Zoe then, but he went and he talked to his coworkers about that, and they were like, yeah, that's Zoe. So she's just around. The owner's name of Poogan's Porch is Bobby Ball.
Is what?
Bobby Ball.
Ball.
Bobby Ball.
He owns a...
She
owns...
B-O-B-B-I-E.
She owns a restaurant named after a dog.
Yes.
And her last name is Ball.
Oh, cute.
Very cute.
Yeah.
No wonder he liked...
She.
No wonder the dog liked her so much.
I got you. Okay. Sorry for, like, my anger. So Bobby Ball was closing up the restaurant when a wood stool toppled over. This is a second stool incident.
Okay.
Because remember, the coffee was on a stool. When a wood stool toppled over, and then right after that, a door started opening and shutting. Like, opening and slamming. It was spooky.
Yeah, she made Zoe mad somehow.
I guess so. Don't close up the restaurant, keep the party going. Maybe that's what Zoe was trying to say. When a guest who happened to be named Elizabeth, yes, she was at the restaurant, she was at a table, and she had a ghost hunting app on her phone.
Oh.
And so she was starting to use it, and things were coming up, apparently a few spots around the table, and a server saw what she was doing, and so the server came over and said, you know, I've seen an orb at this table, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, so I don't know about that, but very interesting.
Yeah, I don't trust ghost apps at all.
I don't trust ghost apps. I also don't trust orbs, but I do like that those things happen at once.
There's a difference between orbs seen in person and an orb seen on a camera.
That is true. That is true. I mean, yeah, if I saw, like, a ball of light going around, I'd be like, that's more than a moth.
Yeah.
I watched something. Okay, I didn't include this in my sources because I didn't use any of their things, but it was this paranormal investigative team had gone to Poogan's porch, and they were going over, like, things that they saw on the camera. And I swear to you, it was like a moth or something. And they were like, see how it's flying against the air current? And I'm like, yeah, because it's a moth. Okay. Oh, this part I think is a little bit freaky. There's a hotel right across the street from Poogan's porch called the Mills House. It's big, it's pink, and it takes up a lot of the block, or a fair part of the block, and so it has a certain portion that is overlooking Queen Street directly into Poogan's porch. And some guests of the Mills House have, after hours, like after Poogan's porch is supposed to be closed, after nobody is in there, they look over and they see an elderly woman in a black dress in one of the windows in, like, the top floor, and they think that she's trapped because I don't know if it's how she's acting, I don't know, but they're worried that, like, somebody might have accidentally locked her in there. Police have gotten calls about this. These people are worried that, like, a woman is trapped in there.
Yeah.
I think that part just, like, surprised me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's always a little bit more believable when people go as far as to call the police on something.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know you're not supposed to call the police unless there's an emergency. And so the fact that these people didn't know the story, didn't know anything.
No, they're just visiting Charleston. They're like, there's a lady.
Yeah.
There's a lady.
I feel like that makes it a lot more believable. Also, the fact that people keep mistaking her for, like, an actual person tells you that her ghost is more, like, corporeal, like, thick. No, not thick. Opaque. Opaque is the word I was looking for.
There's a person who's been researching a lot of Charleston ghosts. I think his name might be Ed Macy, but don't quote me on that. But he said that it is remarkable that, like, she does pop up during the day a lot. Like, it's not just at nighttime that you see her. She's not just there in the dark when you're not sure what you're looking at. She's there a lot during the day, too.
Right.
And I think that kind of goes with the whole she's very solid thing. And he said she's been seen, like, at least 200 times.
Oh, wow.
She's very around. She's very there. The thing she's probably most well known for, and one of the reasons I picked this for this episode.
Okay.
She's in the bathroom a lot.
Oh.
She's specifically in the bathroom mirror a lot.
Ooh.
And so, Zoe, I've pulled a little sneaky thing on you.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. So with King's Tavern, we talked about King's Tavern, and then we talked about the Hat Man, because the Hat Man was kind of at King's Tavern, I theorize. And so I wanted to do a episode where I could go into a lot of mirror ghost stories. And so I'm going to tell you, like, several instances of Zoe being seen in the mirror, and then we're just going to go on to Reddit for some good old-fashioned mirror ghost stories, okay?
Ooh.
We ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
Great. One server was waiting on a mother and daughter at a table there, and the mother was like, hey, can you tell us about, like, the ghost here? And so she told her about Zoe and all the ghost action. And then they were like, okay, thank you. Like, you know, we still don't believe in ghosts, but thank you for sharing that with us. And then I think it was either the mother or the daughter, I can't remember which, asked, oh, hey, where's your bathroom? So the server directed her to the bathroom. A few minutes later, the woman came out, like, freaking out. She said, oh my gosh, I was washing my hand, and I swear I felt a woman walk past me, but there was nobody there.
Oh, wow.
Like, there was nobody there. And then that person said, like, it was totally Zoe. Like, I totally believe this. They went from not believing in ghosts to totally believing in, like, a few minutes.
Okay.
One staff member was cleaning up after the restaurant closed. She said she felt something behind her. She looked and nothing was there, so she kept going about her business. A while later, she was in the bathroom, and she looked up into the mirror, and she didn't see Zoe behind her. She saw, her, like, she was Zoe. Like, where she was, I think, was Zoe.
Creepy.
And, like, yeah, so I think she was looking there for a while, because it did say that, like, then Zoe left the mirror or something. But that is creepy. Like, oh, imagine just looking up and not seeing yourself. You're seeing somebody else. There's another upstairs bathroom story where a woman was washing her hands and then saw an elderly woman come up behind her in the mirror. Obviously, there was no woman there, and the woman ended up running into the street screaming.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes. And then here's another, this is the last one of Zoe in there. But the reason, like, this is the last one is that this comes up again and again and again, and, like, they're very similar to each other. So Holly on Poogan's Porch Facebook, she commented on a post I had, and she said, when we stopped in Charleston on my way to see family in 2012, we ate here. The fried pimento cheese balls and blackened catfish, yum. My daughter and I both felt something brush against our legs, and when I went to wash my hands, I could have sworn there was a woman in the corner watching me, but no one was there when I turned. My daughter went in after me after we ate and came out a little freaked because she noticed her too.
Ooh.
It wasn't until we took the ghost tour later that evening that they told us about Zoe and Poogan.
So, like, ghosts in corners freak me out.
Yeah.
Like, more than, like, you could be anywhere in the room. I'm like, cool, chill, ghost, awesome. You're in the corner. I'm like, no, thank you. Get out of the corner, please.
You know, there's, like, a whole thing of, like, the devil hides in corners.
Oh, I think I was just traumatized by Blair Witch.
Oh, was she in the corner?
We
never actually saw her, did we?
So, no, but the whole thing with the Blair Witch Project is, like, there was an old man who would, like, kidnap two kids, and he would make one face the wall while he killed the other one.
Oh, shoot. And
so, like, one of the last scenes is one of the people in the movie facing a wall.
I remember that bit. Mm-hmm. I think I mostly remember it because John Mulaney had a really funny thing. Do you remember this?
No.
He said something about, like, his wife going to stand Blair Witch style in Best Buy looking in an opposite direction or something. Oh. It was just so funny. I belly laughed at that one.
Yeah. I know in Blair Witch it wasn't technically a corner, but I don't know. Just being in a corner, it's like, what are you? Oh, no, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
So, now on to other mirror stories. We have left Poogan's Porch. Thank you, Poogan's Porch, for all you've given this episode.
Thank you, Poogan's Porch.
Okay. The first mirror story is my dad's former coworker's daughters.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
My dad's former coworker's
daughters. Okay, got it. So you're like work cousin.
Yeah. My ex-work cousin. So my dad gleaned this story. Like, he ended up working with a lady who I think had just recently gotten out of a haunted house. And he was the person joining, so everybody else had been very familiar with her haunted house thing because she was working there while she was going through the haunted house situation as well. So she explained a little bit to him, and he gave me the mirror tidbit of it, which is that one day her 17-year-old daughter was alone at the house, and she was in the upstairs bathroom, and she saw a figure in the mirror. I didn't get any other specifics than that, but she saw a figure in the mirror. And this was, by the way, I completely forgot context. This was not the first haunting. They had been experiencing a lot of things since they moved in there. Okay. They were really freaked out by it. So the 17-year-old home alone saw a figure in the mirror. She booked it down the stairs and out of the house. I don't know how long she was out of the house for, but it was for a while because she was just waiting out front. She did not go back in. So the rest of her family comes home. She tells him, obviously, everything that happened. And he's not sure how long they stayed after this incident, but these people did end up moving because of the haunting.
Really?
They moved because of the haunting.
What state was this in?
Probably either Georgia or North Carolina.
Okay, darn.
I know. And he also said that, or it could be South Carolina, honestly.
Okay, darn.
He said that she said, like his coworker.
She said, yes.
His coworker was in the process of moving out of the house. Her mom, his coworker's mom was there helping because they were packing everything up. They were ready to go. Her and her mom were standing in the driveway, and the mom just remarked, "I've heard of these things moving with people." Which, if I were leaving a haunted house, is the last thing I would want to hear.
That's when you're packing up and when you start moving all your things out, that's when you put a salt line on the front threshold and tell people to step over the salt line. That way it can't attach itself to any of your boxes or people.
That's what they did in
Poplar
Hill.
Yeah.
They did that, and then I also think that they went around the house and I think salted like all the at the windows. I think
They did something about, like, they went counterclockwise once and clockwise twice.
Yeah, they did something about counter versus clockwise, and then there were 3 of them, so I think they all had salt, and they were pouring one after another, so there was, like, no chance of a hole in your circle. Which I admire, like, the attention to detail on that one.
Yeah.
So now we're on to some Reddit stories.
Okay.
So, you/hovercraft alone said, quote, "When I was younger, about 9 or 10, me and my family moved into this house. It was made of metal, not brick or anything." I was confused.
Was it a
about
mobile
that.
home, maybe?
I have no idea. I was confused about that description.
Was it a tiny house that was...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Almost immediately after moving in, I noticed some weird things going on. Being young, my parents chalked it up to imagination. One day I was walking out of my room. My brother's room was right across from mine, and the bathroom was next to his room further down the hallway. As I'm walking out of my bedroom, I look in the bathroom mirror and see a black mass. Now the bathroom was dark, but even when it was dark, I could at least see the wall and the towel holder. But I couldn't see anything. I barely looked for more than a few seconds before I walked away terrified. But it was long enough for me to make out the shape of a man. I was so freaked out, but never told my parents. Ever since then, I've been afraid of mirrors.
Aww.
I know it's sad.
Did that shape of a man have a top hat?
Shape of...
I keep expecting you to be like, and then it was the Hat Man.
This episode is not about the Hat Man. In fact, I did see actually something come up in my searches that was talking about a man in a top hat, and I specifically did not click on it because I was like, no, not the episode for it. Not the episode. I do want to, because this sounds theoretically like a shadow person. So I do want to do an episode on shadow people.
I mean, shadow people are in, like, a lot of haunted stories.
And I think that, like, because I'm kind of confused about what they are, like, in the lore of it.
Right.
And I think that that's the whole thing. It's, like, almost like this, like, blank space in the lore. Or, I mean, maybe it's not blank. Maybe I just haven't found it yet.
And even if it's not long enough to do a whole story on without just going into a bunch of places shadow people are found, it might be good to, like, do something on it.
You do something. I'll look around for it.
Yes, you do that.
Thank you. This next one has been edited for length and clarity.
Okay.
You/know who man contact.
Okay.
Said, quote, "This started when I was about 7 years old, when I was living with my parents and older sister in a 1-bedroom house. My sis and I shared a fairly large room with a bunk bed, wardrobe, a couple drawers, and a dresser with a built-in mirror, and a stretched-out underside like what some desks have. I, like most children do, had an imaginary friend named Elizabeth. Elizabeth was young. She wore a white nightgown and had blonde curly hair, brown eyes, and spoke with a Cockney accent. My earliest memory of her was when I was 6, but I knew she was with me when I was much younger too. She would always talk and play with me when I was lonely. I was a social butterfly, but I've always had trouble with making friends and understanding people in general. This is kind of important. When we lived in this small house, she, quote, lived in the mirror, and I'd sing to her as I would do my hair. She talked to me when I'd have tea parties and would tell me about her family. She had 2 older brothers and a younger sister. She always helped me when I nearly fell off the bunk bed and would wake up my parents if I woke up with nosebleeds. They happened rather often. She'd make them have a feeling that something was watching them, and she woke up my dad rather than my mom, which is also important. My mom said she was like my guardian angel. One day, before we moved into my current home, now I was 8, nosebleeds no longer happening, she told me that she can't move into my new home with me, but she'll keep an eye on me. She also told me that the man would be following us, so I'd need to be careful. I didn't know at the time who the man was, so I just accepted it and moved on. The house I currently live in is all right. I didn't experience anything until I was in year 10, 15 years old, when I had a nosebleed and I was making myself a snack. My dad was in London but called to ask if I was okay because he felt like something was wrong. I told him that I had a nosebleed and that was it. Odd, but okay. A few days passed and I was walking home from my then boyfriend's home when I heard a voice loudly say in my ear, "Duck."
Oh.
I did, and a stick flew over my head, but no one was there. I think I know what you guys might be picking up on something now. I remembered Elizabeth as I walked the rest of my way home, confused and a little shocked. I sleep in a shared attic room that's sectioned off by curtains. I sleep on one side of the curtain, and my little sister sleeps on the other side. I'm 18 now and she's 12. Every now and again, I hear scratching at the attic walls, knocking on my window. My sister has constant sleep paralysis, and I wake up with scratches, bruises, and sometimes a couple of burn marks. I'm used to this, though. I had a dream recently that Elizabeth came back and told me that the man is doing this. He follows me, throws sticks and stones at me, and hurts me as I sleep, nosebleeds, etc. He's been doing this for a long time, too. Why, you might ask? Because I don't play with his great-granddaughter. I'm social, but I'm not good at making friends. I don't know who the great-granddaughter is, nor do I know his name. It's been a very long time since I'd played games with people. Elizabeth now stays with me. She found a vessel to stay in to protect me, a porcelain doll I bought a few years ago. The scratches still appear sometimes, but the noise on my bedroom walls and my sister's sleep paralysis still remains.
Ooh.
There's a lot to that story.
Yeah. What Reddit thread was that found in? Do you know?
I was looking at a few of them. This one might be ghost stories or ghosts or something like that.
Because there's one that's called No Sleep. You've probably heard of it.
I've heard of it. This was not from that one to my knowledge, I think.
Because No Sleep is fictional. So, yeah.
I did wonder if, I don't think I got this from No Sleep.
Right, yeah, no.
Just because of how involved this one, I did wonder if it was fictional.
Yeah.
I mean, and it could, everything you take from Reddit has to be read with a grain of salt.
Right. But regardless, it's still a ghost story.
Regardless, it's still a ghost story. And it is still creepy. And the idea of, a mysterious the man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Very interesting, though. This next one is from u/Chew, 1982. That's very rhymey.
Wait, hold on. Is it CHEW?
CHOO.
Oh, okay.
Chew, 1982.
Okay.
Quote, "This happened about 10 years ago when my children were younger and my husband worked permanent night shift. I'd put the kids to bed and I'd been watching some TV for a few hours when I decided it was time to hit the sack. I went and checked on the kids and went to the bathroom to brush my teeth and wash my face before bed. My bathroom then was pretty tiny. We've since moved house. And the mirror above the sink reflected the door and the corner of the bathroom next to the door. I set about brushing my teeth and having a wash. I was finishing washing my face, and when I was toweling my face off, I looked in the mirror, and I saw a girl staring back at me. She looked to be in her teens and stood slouched in the corner wall of the bathroom looking back at me in the mirror. She was making direct eye contact, and she wasn't smiling. Just nothing behind the eyes, no emotion, nothing. Thank you for the sound effects. She had long, scruffy, dirty-looking curly blonde hair, and she was wearing a long, plain, pale pink t-shirt, and she had dark circles under her eyes like she hadn't slept for a week. I spun around, and there was no body there. Nobody. It's 2 words, but I think it's nobody. I looked back in the mirror, and there was nothing there. I was a bit freaked and I ran quick to check on the kids and decided to move them into my bed. Nothing else happened that night, and I never saw that girl again, although we did have other paranormal stuff happen during the time we lived in that house.
Creepy.
Corner.
Yeah, a corner. Yeah.
And then that, like, just, so teenage there, and then in that, like, long, pale pink, like, t-shirt, she said. Kind of like a nightshirt.
Yeah. I mean, I wear extra large, long shirts to bed all the time.
No, I'm not thinking it's weird. I think what's weird to me is just how, like, realistic, and, like, it's very descriptive. So, like, she said long, scruffy, dirty looking curly blonde hair, and then that pale shirt with, like, the eyes ahead. I feel like I can picture this one much more easily than I can picture some of the other things that happened. I have one more to end on.
Okay.
And this is actually a photo. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what the user said, and then I'm gonna show you the photo, and then I kind of want to get you, like, looking for it.
Okay.
Reddit user u/Amand Samima
Okay.
said, XGF, ex-girlfriend, sent this photo to her family chat to announce she reached the hotel safe and chilling. Brother replies, who is that in the mirror? Okay, so I'm going to show you.
It's an XGF and there's someone in the mirror.
It's not... Anyway,
yeah.
Trust me. So I'm going to click this and I'm going to make it bigger. There we go. So I'm just going to show it to you now, and I want you to, like, tell me what you think you see.
That looks like a TV.
Yeah.
Oh, she just looks like... I can't really see it. Hold on.
Sorry, I'm going to up the brightness for you. And you can use this to, like, zoom in if you need to. Sorry, guys, if you're hearing computers sliding around.
That's, like, a child.
You see it.
Yeah, that's, like, a little black boy.
Do you see the eyes?
Yeah, they're reflecting, like, red eye. No, that looks like a little boy.
You don't think it's, like, a spooky thing?
No, he looks sad.
Oh. I mean, he does, but his eyes are really reflecting something, and that is... The minute I saw that, I was, like, really freaked out.
Oh, okay. To me, it just looks like red eye. Like, you know, when you take a flash photo, your eyes...
Yeah, your eyes do reflecting, but it's not reflecting red.
Yeah, but he's a ghost, so...
Okay.
But that looks like a little boy.
Okay, so you see a ghost.
Yeah.
And you're not freaked out.
He just looks sad.
I see that now, but girl, the first time I saw this, I was freaking out. I was freaking out.
I mean, it's a ghost.
Go you for not being freaked out, but I'm just seeing the little boy and I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to be there. All right. Well, that's the end of the episode.
Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh, it's a ghost.
Thank you. I was like, we'll end on this one because there's no way she won't find it scary.
Oh, it's a
little boy in a mirror who shouldn't be in the mirror.
Yeah, but then I'm thinking about how a little boy ghost got in a hotel, and it just makes me sad.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please rate, review, subscribe, and tell a friendo, and subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/hauntedhospitality. We give you a new episode every month for a $3 tier.
Yes, and it comes out on the 13th because we're spooky. If you want to see Robin's sources, you can go to hauntedhospitality.wordpress.com. If you want to shoot us your own spooky story, there we go.
Yeah, please don't just send us, like, a
spooky
message.
You can write to us at hauntedhospitalitypodcast@gmail.com, or you can DM us.
Yes, because you can find us on the interwebs at Haunted Hospitality, at Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and on Twitter at Haunted House. We hope to see you there.
Stay spooky.